Good evening, friends, and welcome to another live reality games podcast. Tonight, we're here with contestants from a pretty amazing college Survivor. If you have not watched Survivor at UVA season 4, I believe, Wahoo Warriors, we're here with Hunter, Peyton, and Lil Ryan and I got to, you all know this will be full of spoilers. So if you haven't watched episode 2, you should have already because episode 3 is going to drop very soon. And one of these players right here, unfortunately, it was their last episode. So we're going to get into it. Episode 2, Dead in the Water. And actually, I'm kind of curious. Do any of you remember when Dead in the Water was said in the episode? Who said that?
It was Hunter, I'm pretty sure. If I'm pointing up, I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction.
No, yeah. I didn't know it was me, actually. I was just here thinking, I was like, I know it's not me. So when I saw Ryan pop his hand, Ryan said, like, sure, go.
No, not me.
I thought it was maybe Hannah.
I don't
She
know.
said a lot that episode.
Perfect guess. None of us know where the time. I even did a rewatch. Like I watched twice on principle and I missed it. But I have a lot of like secondary titles that we'll get to at certain points when we talk about this. But before we get into the whole episode, the people at home sometimes are interested how you got involved in the casting process and getting involved. So let's start with Peyton. How did you find out about this? How did you get involved?
So I was actually walking home from Quidditch practice when I saw one of the previous seasons was doing a challenge over near the tennis courts. And so I was like saying hi to my friends because I knew the people who were in there and they were like, don't talk to me right now, I'm busy. And so that's kind of what caught my interest. And then one of my teammates was on season 2, I think. So I was like, well, that sounds like fun. But I just found them at the activities fair in the end because I was like, okay, I want to try this too.
And you're already competitive. I mean, you play Quidditch. There's not a ton of people who do that. So you go from one kind of niche community to another. That's amazing. And I'm a super fan. I don't know if you watched my last podcast, Peyton, but I thought you were dressed to impress at Tribal Council. And I lived it for it. I loved your antics at the challenge. I just found it super cute. So I'm a super fan. I'm totally rooting for you. Next, Hunter, how did you get involved with Survivor at UVA?
So I had just been going around it was my first year at UVA, and I was going around at an activities fair, and just Survivor just caught my eye. I was more of a fan of Big Brother. I'd only seen a few seasons of Survivor at the time, but I thought I might as well apply. I'll sign up and see what this see how this goes. I didn't realize it was necessarily applying to play the game. But then when I got an interview, I was like, what do I do? Like, how do I do this? And I just lied. That was how I did it. I just lied about I came up with this story. I'm from Arkansas. And so I'm like, I'm just this Southern bumpkin who, is at UVA, doesn't understand why he's at UVA, doesn't know why he's here. And lo and behold, it worked, I guess. But yeah, I mean.
Excellent. And then we got you. That's amazing. Because we'll talk about your game in the episode, of course, as we will talk about all of your games. And Ryan, how did you get involved?
I've been a Survivor fan for a very long time. I'm one of those people that's been watching it before I can remember. And my senior year of high school, before I even went to UVA, I was on vacation with my family. And my dad showed me this article about Survivor Maryland, which is, if you don't know, a very similar college Survivor show and is very famous. And so I looked up oh my God, is there something at UVA? I was like, I would love to play. It would be so fun. So I looked it up and there were a couple episodes on YouTube. So I saw it, caught my eye at the activities fair, signed up. And I was actually not selected at first. I was an alternate. So I was not on the show until the day of the challenge, until I got an email and they were like, can you come? So I was like, yeah, of course. So I just showed up.
Oh my gosh, Ryan, imagine if you had to work or you were out of town.
Well, luckily I was a first year, so I had nothing to do.
Okay. Fair.
What a steal they got.
So Peyton, were you a fan of Survivor? I missed that if you said that.
Kinda. I mean, like when there was nothing else to watch on TV, like my family liked watching it. Um, but we really enjoyed watching the little challenge games. Like Tribal Council didn't really make sense to us because we weren't watching them consecutively, so we were just like, okay, we don't know why that guy was voted out, but okay, cool.
So it was more about the experience, the challenge, the adventure, kind of like what Quidditch is too. It feels like that's an adventure, a challenge of some kind.
Yeah, I really wanted to do all the little. I kept calling them mini games. I really wanted to do the mini games.
Totally.
That was the whole reason. I was like, I just want to play mini games. I want to do puzzles and compete for puzzles.
I love that take on it. It's all about that's a great strategy to just be like, I'm not playing strategically. I just want to play the challenges and have fun. And there's a sense of keeping fun people around because it's such a stressful game that sometimes having somebody you like and you have fun with can be a huge asset. So we have clearly, Hunter, you're a strategist. You watch Big Brother, which is so full of strategy. I mean,
not this season, no.
Oh gosh, don't even get me started. I don't.
We can get into that later.
We don't talk about the actual shows, but gosh, this episode was way more exciting than so much I've seen on Big Brother this entire season.
That's good.
For sure. I can't wait to get into it. And then you're clearly a strategist just because of the amount of hours and seasons you've watched. So let's get right into it. The episode starts ironically with the tribe that you guys weren't on. So it's Chobani, the yogurt tribe, Chobanics, however you say it. And the thing I love about it is this yogurt is definitely not vanilla because there's stuff happening on this tribe right at the start, and we get strategy right from the get-go. So we have the 5, the Wahoo squad, Kevin, Hannah, Lauren, Ethan, and Katie are all devising little plans and talking about other members, and they're specifically focusing on one person in particular that it seems like a lot of people are focusing on in some way, and that's Tommy. And I know we can't get into anything really from your guys' perspective because you have no really interactions, but I mean, you have some from the challenge. Is there anything that you guys can talk about regarding any of these people outside of past episode 2?
I remember something that isn't necessarily in the edit. I lived in the same building as Hannah, who's also a part of that Wahoo Warriors squad sort of thing. And so from that, she would try and get information from me. She would ask me what's going on and try and share information with me. She wanted me to give people's phone numbers to her so she could reach out. So I'm definitely not surprised that she's the one who is sort of leading this alliance from the beginning on that tribe.
Yeah, so we see Hannah and Kevin both kind of in these control positions. And the one thing I thought was interesting is then they do all these cuts. And we see Tommy's interaction with all of these people individually. And I got to say, I am here for Tommy's strategy. When I was watching this, I was so super stoked. I have put so much money in the Tommy stock from here on out. I could see, and don't, if I had to pick one person from each tribe right now to be a final 2 at the start of this episode, I'm picking Tommy, and I'm either picking you, Ryan, or Margaret. I feel like you two are the most insulated on your tribe when we get through even more of this episode, and we can get into that. So Tommy has kind of this speed dating strategy. He's going out to dinner with all of these different people. He's talking about stuff that's personal. He's not being overtly strategic, and that might just be his personality. But at the same time, that's super unassuming, and it's super not threatening. So I could see how there's a potential that he could be working his tentacles into other people per se. And we kind of see that work on Kevin, which I thought was interesting because Kevin has a lot of clout on his tribe. He's a part of the 5, but then we also find out coming up, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but we find out Kevin's also working with the guys on his tribe. So Kevin is super insulated as well. He has options in different places. And I just see Tommy is in this perfect kind of he's an outsider still. He's not going to be completely seen as being a part of these alliances, but then he's also going to be getting information from all of these alliances, from both Kevin and who we find out is probably his number 2 as of episode 2. What we're watching is Katie. They call themselves the bottom, the swing votes. And one of my favorite quotes is Tommy says, like this alliance isn't bringing him in. And he says, do I have to do a dance? I don't know any dances. Like,
which I can guarantee is a lie. Tommy knows plenty of dances for sure.
Yeah.
And I would think so too. Like, I'm not going to pass judgment or on what I'm totally thinking about people. But when Ethan was talking about Tommy, I got kind of these catty vibes, like that Ethan wasn't really vibing totally with Tommy, but kind of the rest of the Wahoo squad was like, well, he's a vote, we could use him. And Kevin and Katie really liking Tommy. You get that sense. And then they're talking about that, and you see Ethan's face just drop. Like, he gets so serious. He's like he didn't get his way. Like, they're not going to go after Tommy. And I just love that whole sequence. So we also get information that Katie and Tommy are comparing notes. So what's basically happening is these two have all of the information that we're aware of at this point in the game. And I find that really interesting. So then they suggest to meet up as this organically formed 6. And I love that whole sequence. They have another dinner party. I called it Katie's dinner night with shepherd's pie. And like, for those of you that don't watch College Survivor, it's so interesting to watch players like eat food while they strategize. And Tommy's like, what's the word for him? He's like the Pharaoh or Caesar. Like, he's in every sequence we see him, he's constantly munching on food. He could have like a thing of grapes and somebody could be feeding Tommy grapes as the episode goes on. And I'm just like, I'm here for it. I love it. I'm talking a lot because I actually don't know what questions to ask you guys about the other tribe. Does anybody have any stories, comments, anecdotes that you remember from early on?
I have some. I remember. I'm going to be completely honest. I knew there was someone on the Chomani tribe that I had never seen. Like, I had never talked to. I had talked to most of them, but I never talked to one person before. So I didn't know who they were before this season. It was Katie. I have never seen Katie. Like, I had never seen Katie before this season. Like, before they released the cast, I had no idea who she was. She seems pretty nice.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally agree too. And what's funny that you say that, Hunter, is when they were going through all the the cast members in the group of 5, she was the one when I was writing down the names that I kept forgetting her name. And I don't know what that is. It might just be the edit, but I kept forgetting she was there, which as a player of Survivor, I'm always afraid of those players. Like, if I can't remember your name, that means I'm not writing your name down at tribal council. And that's always a concern for me. So let's just get right into, I loved Mario's comment, by the way, because Tommy was totally eating. He was like licking his fingers and like trying to work his way into this group that he knows he's at the bottom of. And I love that. Like, the thing about Tommy, I'll stop talking about Tommy in a second. He still went through with it. Like, he's still going to try to work these people and work this angle, even though he knows well, for lack of better words, he's probably dead in the water with them. So, all right, we get to friends at home. Probably the simplest idea for an immunity challenge and the best idea for an immunity challenge, especially for College Survivor. We have Capture the Flag, and you need to watch this because it's brutal. It looks just like Survivor. It reminds me of Survivor China when they're playing in the wet fields, and there's just like sludge and they're in the grass, but oh my gosh, it looked like you guys were just soaked, destroyed. It looked like people were breaking their ankles. Like,
They were pretty freaking miserable.
It was fun. It was honestly a very, very fun challenge. Having water everywhere. There are pictures of me afterwards just covered in mud that I will never delete because they're just so great.
Everything was stained. Everything was so stained afterwards.
Yeah, you can see me like squatting like a baby bird because I'm trying not to sit on the ground, but like my legs are sore and I'm not standing.
Yeah. And like the rounds went so long. Every round seemed to go forever. So like then stamina and endurance becomes a factor. And you already can't run at your full speed because if you do, you're gonna fall down.
Yeah.
So we get, I mean, it's really interesting. So the first round, I think it's you, Ryan. It looks like you come up with a strategy to kind of win points. Do you want to kind of talk through the powwow that occurs in the safety zone?
Yeah, so I think if I recall correctly, I think this happened twice in the challenge where it was me. I think the first time might have been Hunter and Andy,
Mm-hmm.
and then Big Ryan was just standing there. And so one like rule clarification that I wasn't sure if people would like realize watching it is that when you're in that circle, the person outside can't tag you unless you touch the buff. So I was like, oh my gosh, we cannot touch this. Otherwise we're done for. They're just going to come at us. So I was like, guys, I really wanted to have maybe Hunter, maybe Andy. I wanted to have them sort of like act as blockers for me. And then I could just run right around Big Ryan because I wanted to be the one who, got the point for the immunity clue at the end. So that was definitely running through my head the whole time. What?
You wanted to be the one who didn't have to block Big Ryan.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, I was pretty scared of him. He was massive. But it was pretty embarrassing when it kind of didn't work both times.
But I mean, it didn't work how you wanted it to, but still like right afterwards, it seemed to, at least in the edit, trigger this like cascading events where then Mario was able to like rush in, grab it. But of course, you wanted the glory.
Of
It
course.
seems like Mario kind of snuck in there and took it.
Yes.
So can you clarify how the hidden immunity idol clue was awarded in that challenge?
So basically, I think every time that someone won the point for their tribe, they got technically an individual point. So, for example, the first round when Mario crossed, he got an individual point, and so forth and so on. And then by the end, whoever had the most points was the one who got the clue for the idol. So I think it ended up being Kevin because he got 2.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So Waim scores the first 2 rounds, and you guys are all there, so close to your first win. You have a 2 out of 3 shot at that point to like get it. Where do I start? Peyton, what went wrong?
Oh, well. So I was not having a good time at that point because I forgot rounds were so long. I've forgotten that we were competing for an immunity clue, and so I was just playing to win. Like I was like, we gotta heckin' win. Like we've been to tribal once, I want to win. So I was really frustrated because I was trying to be really nice about it. I was like, yeah, you guys can go. Like I can go later. And I really wish I hadn't because I really wanted to play. And I don't know. I just wasn't really scared of falling. I'm used to getting tackled and like completely getting knocked down. So I was like, falling in mud is not a problem. Like this is going to be way softer than the fields normally. So like, I was kind of frustrated when it was in the second round, I think. No, it was in the last one that we did. Some people were just kind of running, and I don't know if there was any strategy or plan to it. And so I was just like, all right, bye. Like, I'm not going to come get you. I can't. I'm not fast enough. Also, I don't want to get eliminated right away. So it was a big mess.
It was a big mess, literally and figuratively. Mario has a comment that's interesting. He says, I was the reason we lost, even though Mario, you scored one of the points. That's interesting. Oh, Quidditch Queen.
Thank you.
You know what? I got to say this. I want to watch Quidditch now because I didn't know there was tackling involved in Quidditch.
Yeah, you'll find out more later.
Cool.
There's a bit of a mess there too.
Cool.
When I said like in the episode when I was like he can stay in jail, like I'm not going to get him. Mario's right. That was at Mario because I was like, Mario, I literally am not fast enough to get to you. I am not on the Quidditch team for my speed. I'm on it because I can take a hit. That's it. Like, nothing else.
Can I just say that the women brought it in this challenge? Like, there's a scene where, I forget who's standing there. I think it was Aaron. And Sarah comes in, cannonball, like, jumps onto Aaron. I didn't see that in real time because I feel like I would have remembered like something like that. But that was nuts. There was no way. I mean, Peyton, I love you, but I'm the complete opposite. Like, I was like, do not touch me. Don't get me dirty. Don't get mud on me. Like, I was not there to play.
Yeah,
Maybe I should.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing up Sarah because she's one of the most memorable points of, I think, both challenges now, right? I mean, she is shit talking like nobody's business, and that is her MO. And like, you walk away, you could tell that your tribe walks away kind of feeling a little bit dissed by her, like she didn't have to play that way. But I'll tell you, for me, my personality as an audience member, I was here for it. And I do like some things, some of the aspect, maybe not everything she has said, but I like the energy behind it. I like somebody who's going to compete really hard. But I also like it when other people are going to use that as strategy afterwards. So it was like an all win-win episode. I'm like, yes, give me more. So
my thing with Sarah was that there was a lot of like talk. Like, she was intimidating when you first looked at her because she like was so comfortable with herself and like was so outgoing and everything. But then when we actually got into the challenges, I felt like there was nothing really there to back it up. I was kind of confused. Like, I wasn't really concerned about her. I was like, something's gonna happen to her regardless. She's just so active.
Ellie too. Ellie also killed it this challenge. Like you saw at the beginning, she wasn't wearing shoes. Over the course of the challenge, everyone stopped wearing their shoes. Like, everyone took them off. You gotta hand it to her. It
was genius.
Different, yeah, but it's different. But it seems to work.
That's those hippie vibes. Like, you're just rooted to the earth. You're like, okay, I'm just gonna. I don't have cleats, so I'm just gonna use my feet. Like, go with the flow. I love it. One of my favorite clips is Ellie just splashing. Like, do you remember that? Like, she's in place, and that's like, you get that sheer joy. Like, she has a similar, like, Peyton, you have kind of a vibe too, where you just like kind of like, I get kind of like a good vibe that you like emanate. And Ellie kind of has that like same energy too, where she like just jumps splash, and I'm like, what? This is like so like 5-year-old, 6-year-old. I love it. It's so cute.
It's pure joy.
Yeah.
She just makes me so happy.
She's so sweet.
I love seeing her. One time I was walking through like our campus and I saw her with her hula hoop dancing in the grass just by herself, like with her hula hoop. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right. Like, that's Ellie.
Wait, so it says the king editing Ryan. Wait, are we talking about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I edited the season.
Oh my gosh.
Or not, but yeah.
Genki, I am so mad. I just got blindsided on the podcast.
Biggest blindside, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I definitely am not going to talk smack about the editing. No, the editing's great. Like, you can tell, Ryan, like, I think this is like, you're going to get picked up. CBS is going to want to hire you.
I hope. It doesn't really do anything for my major. Like, it has nothing to do with engineering, but I've put a lot of time, like 2 years probably at this point, into this. So I'm really excited watching it come out and hearing everyone's thoughts on it.
You guys better all buy this man a drink and like follow him and subscribe to whatever he does in the future. That's amazing, Ryan. Super impressive. Well, I hope we can have you on more often then as well.
Yeah. I'd love to share my thoughts. It's hard to not share things because I feel like I know so much about the season at this point. So it's hard to like know what I should say or not.
Yeah, so I bet. But,
I'll get used to it.
One of the other thing I loved was Tommy. Tommy seemed to fall a lot. Tommy was having some epic fails in the challenge. I thought that was great. I love everything Tommy. So yeah, what was that?
There's a scene. I don't know. Like I wrote this down in my notes and I debated telling it. There's just a scene in the middle of there where Sarah's talking smack, but you see Tommy's butt, and it looks huge. So shout out to Tommy for that.
All right, Tommy with the thickness. All
If I
right.
had a screenshot, I would show you.
Yes, we can screen share. That's pretty cool. We'll do that in the next one. Yeah, Tommy was having some epic falls there, and still, you know, their tribe you just see is more brawn, and you see your guys' tribe is very cerebral. When there was that showdown, it was like, Big Ryan and Little Ryan, and you could tell it was like brawn versus brains, and you were like tabulating the strategy. You had it, you knew how to do it, and it was the best win case scenario for you guys. So I was there for it. It's a great challenge, guys. If you've not watched this episode, you need to watch this challenge. Super fun. Are there any more points or memories you guys have from that brutal challenge that you want to share?
I think my favorite part of the whole challenge was getting to tag Sarah, because it like sent us both down, and I didn't realize that she threw mud at me afterwards. But then when I saw it, I was like, wait, why? That doesn't make sense. I'm already covered in mud. Like, this makes no difference. But I don't know. That was like, I felt like I was most in my element then than I had ever felt like in any of the challenges so far. So the 2 challenges so far. So I was just really like, I was feeling good about it.
That was a great moment. Like, I don't know if it comes across in the episode, but Sarah screams so loudly right there. I think it accidentally muted, but we use that clip. We have a kind of hype video that we use to like get people to play that we send out, and that clip is in there.
I remember it because I remember thinking like, oh, who is screaming right now? Because it's very loud.
Yeah.
This was such a fun challenge.
This was my favorite challenge.
So fun. And like, to every host out there, like we always are. Yeah, like we're constantly trying to think of something big and the grandiose, and like this was people and a flag and really good rules. Capture the flag. Like, if you can condense a challenge, I think, into a paragraph worth of text for rules, you have a good game. You have a good challenge. Sometimes these overly complicated things are just, it's too much. You don't need it. So sometimes, keep it simple, stupid. I loved it. I'm stealing it. I don't know if I can do it in my next game, but I'm using it at some point. So we are at day 10. And we get a little mini episode on Sarah, and I was really, really feeling it. So I walked away kind of feeling a little miffed, but liked her energy. And then we get like this background story, and I'm skipping a short section, but I don't know. It was kind of like a winner's edit. It was kind of like a winner chicken dinner, because she's talking about like she's such a fleshed out character, right? Like, she's got her negative side, and then we're showing this like positive side, how she comes from a family, I think, of immigrants, right? Let me find my notes. Yeah, and it just talks about that challenge and just hearing that full out picture. It's hard to hate somebody that was just so negative in a challenge when you suddenly hear such good stuff and just their life story right afterwards. So I left really liking Sarah after that sequence. And we also find out Mario also likes Sarah, kind of anti the rest of his tribe. He talks about it's somebody that he could bring further. He likes that vibe because secretly he says he kind of has that similar energy too. He just hasn't been showing it to what I don't know if we're calling your alliance this, Ryan, but the Super Mario Brothers.
That is the official name.
Awesome. Yay. I'm super stoked. So the Super Mario Bros is the alliance we talked about in episode 1, which is Margaret, Ryan, and Mario. And so I kind of like this information about Mario too, to see his whole game as well. I have a couple other notes. Yeah, Tommy says he was really frustrated with Sarah because that's not how he conducts himself. But here was another kind of fully fleshed out thing. Sarah says one of her negative things, and the whole tribe laughs. It's on camera. Like, I see Tommy's laughing at it, Big Ryan's laughing at, like, okay, you can walk away and say, oh, I didn't really like what you said, but you clearly did. That was your, like, you can't hide from it, Tommy. If you're watching this right now, you laugh, buddy. So then what's really exciting, and I want you guys to kind of go into this. So Kevin ends up receiving the idol clue, and he can't find it. And I was like, I don't think it's that hard. Like, I mean, maybe if we got a little bit more perspective of where to look, but I'm like, I think he knows exactly where it is. Like, dude, get your tent, your sleeping bag, camp out there, find the fucking idol. Like, excuse my French, everybody.
In Kevin's defense, he came up with a lot of excuses for why he couldn't find the idol. One, he has object recognition problems. And two, he also talked to the security guard that like watches over the rotunda area, and he literally searched for the idol with him, and he still couldn't find it.
Oh, wow.
So it must have been hidden really well.
For sure. So then, do you guys want to talk through like how you got involved? Weren't you all searching for it as well? Or no?
No, that the group that was searching for it was the Surviving Six Alliance, which is on the other side.
Gotcha. It was just them. So they go and search for it, and it's revealed that that Tommy ends up finding it, and he keeps it to himself. As of episode 2, I think nobody else knows that Tommy has a full hidden immunity idol. So can you clarify, Margaret has a half idol, and then who else has a half idol as well?
Kevin?
Yeah, Margaret and Kevin
Okay.
both have half idols.
So they have half idols, there's a full idol, so that's what we're dealing with advantages so far in the game. So here we go. I'm getting into your guys' notes. This is great. So Ryan, then we find out a big piece of information is dropped about you and Andy. Do you want to get into this a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So Andy went to the same high school as me, and I didn't really know him in high school. We were kind of in different friend groups at the time. And then we get into the very first day. I walk up and even before that, Andy, I was like talking to him about how he was also applying for Survivor. So I guess we kind of knew that we were both applying. But he had told me he got on, and I was like, oh, man, I'm an alternate. So I was honestly pretty upset that he got in and I didn't get on. And then I didn't tell him that I was on until the first day. And I walked up onto the stairs, and so I saw him. And I was like, what's up, Andy? But, yeah, we kind of got to know each other through Survivor, which was really nice.
That's super cool. So you had a little bit of a background of each other. But as I've seen, that doesn't necessarily mean anything in these games. Like, it can go any direction.
I probably knew Andy just as well as I knew everyone else on the tribe. So we just had that small connection.
Yeah. And I bet, did other people know about that connection, Ryan?
I told Mario and Margaret, I think, in like the first episode. So it probably spread around to people.
Makes sense. So Andy hatches a plan. He's kind of a chaos Andy at this point. He wants to go to Michael's and start getting stuff to make a fake idol. So he mentions that, and this just blows my mind. I've never played a Survivor where you could like go to the store and just like I'm just get me a little twine, get me a pine cone, some gems, let me mix something, and here you go. So I gotta say, like when he said that, it really got me thinking about the different strategies that College Survivor has. We could have a podcast just on that. And I think we're going to get into that in a little bit regarding text messages and group messages, which are very much a part of this game as well. So we even get a little preview that maybe the fake idol might play into episode 3 when you see the end of the episode. So I'm super intrigued by that. So So yeah, the one thing I want to say to all future players too is like you might want to consider the fake idol plan because it's something that very doable if you're in College Survivor. Rupert couldn't do it when he put a rock in his pocket, but you might be able to get away with it if you have access to a real fancy necklace or a nice little ring or something. So think about it until the point that it gets too much and the hosts are like, no fake idols anymore. You're allowed to do it. So think about it. So then I mean, you guys are here. The most interesting strategic point I thought in this game. So last episode, if you didn't watch it, Hunter voted for Peyton, kind of because he was working with Quinn, also because I think there were also some very late mixed messages, text messages that were being sent. And I mean, Hunter, you can explain your game for yourself, but you then kind of devise a plan. I think it's you to try to work your way in with the girls through Peyton. I'm just curious. I want you to give us the tea. Tell us what was going down.
So I definitely knew that in terms of like working with Ryan and Andy and Mario, that just wasn't gonna happen. Just like I don't know, our personalities are just I would work better with the girls, and I made a bit of an inroad with Ellie. It seemed after Quinn left, I voted for Quinn to stay just because I wanted to maybe use it. Hey, maybe I'm a loyal guy. Probably not thinking down the line about, the ramifications of voting to keep this one person in against the entire tribe. But, I mean, at the time, it made sense. I don't know. What were your thoughts on this, Peyton?
I mean, I wasn't texting anybody. So, basically, what you see on camera is my entire playing of the game. Like, I'm not someone to text people or call people. So people would be like, hey, you want to meet up? And I was like, not really, but, I will. That was basically, the entire thing for me. It was just I did not really want to meet with anybody because I just am not that kind of person. I wasn't meeting with anybody outside of the game either. So, but I was not very surprised when I got the vote because I was basically expecting it. I think Margaret was the one who told me to expect it. And at that point, I trusted Margaret. And so I was like, okay, yeah. I thought she was in my alliance and only my alliance. And so I was like, yeah, that works. But yeah, I mean, Hunter, it wasn't a loyalty thing. It was more so just I thought you were playing the game too well. I thought you were playing that character that was kind of low key, I'm just gonna kind of sneak my way through. And I was like, he's definitely talking to too many people to successfully play that sneaking character.
Yeah, I just want to say, I've told everybody this 100 times, so they're probably sick of it. But if anything went right for me, if any one thing went right, it's I was right in episode 1 when I said I picked Quinn because she's gonna go before I did. Because she went before I did.
KIRK, you didn't even get to see. We didn't have any footage of it, but I got some threatening messages from Quinn.
Oh no!
Yeah. I got texts telling me to vote for, I don't even remember, or else. And I was like, or else what?
Wait, during episode 1?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, or else what? What do you have on me? You have nothing on me. So I showed it to absolutely everybody, but we didn't have it on camera because I just was like, look what happened. I was so shook.
Oh, Quinn, I know you're gonna watch this at some point. Come on, or else, you had to, those words. It's literally those 2 words that change the entire context of that strategy. It's now it's a threatening strategic move, and how can you work with somebody like that? That would be really tough.
I mean, yeah, she was also very, very active at that point. Basically, I was going for the extroverts for the game. because I was like, I don't really want to talk much, and y'all are making too much conversation. So like, let me try to get to the introverts who don't really want to talk as much, and that way I can like actually play like my version.
And it's very true. Both Quinn and Hunter came in like swinging the bat. Like, yeah, you're like, I'm playing this game. And I love that vibe. We love that energy. And it makes sense why you two would kind of like gravitate towards each other right at the start. And I think it's strategically, it's also probably a good idea to have that person on your side, even if you're not in a total alliance with them, Hunter.
Mhm.
But Peyton, I kind of want to get into your group chat. So they say in the episode that you create a group chat with the 4 girls and Hunter. And it seems like Margaret is just the like highway of information in this tribe. Like it just like runs through her if it needs to. So what was your motivation behind the group chat?
Well, the real motivation was just to like that kind of thing where you like put something in writing and it kind of makes it stronger. So like I don't remember texting ever in it. I was just the first one. I was like, hey guys, this is our group chat. And then that was it for me. But it was mostly just to kind of have that like encouragement of the bond sort of forming. I do remember Margaret having told me, she was like, yeah, I heard from so-and-so and so-and-so that like this is happening. I didn't think anything of it because I was just like, oh, first years walking back to dorms together talking. Didn't think anything else of it. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I don't think that group chat got used much at all, really.
Well, I win, so
Didn't do much.
Yeah.
I was gonna text him afterward.
So then another sequence, another little bit in the episode is going back to the Super Mario Bros, seeing you guys exchange kind of all of the information that's going on at Tribal Council, realizing that at least I'm realizing it looks like you guys are pretty insulated in your tribe at this point. And then you guys have the idea to break up, and Andy texts you all, and you're like, well, let's bring Andy and let's make this maybe a 4. But let's all meet him at a different time. And I love it because Ryan, you guys all split up and then you strategically come in to make him think that you weren't just hanging out as a group.
It was so funny. We were all in that meeting of just us 3. And then I think I got a text from Andy and he was like, hey, would you want to maybe talk to like Margaret and Mario in Form 4? And we were all sitting there. So I was like, So obviously I don't want to tell him like, Super Mario Bros, this is my line. So we all left that meeting one by one, walked completely separate ways to Andy's dorm. Like Mario walked all the way around this way, and then we came in different directions to meet him. And we had a whole nother meeting and just rehashed everything that we did in the group of 3.
Ryan, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
That shot where you're in one of your rooms, I don't know whose, and y'all are talking about making the fake idol. Was that like the same shot from the first episode, or did y'all just sit in the same place and like have food at the same location? Like,
it was definitely a shot from the first episode, probably. I did this a lot where if there's ever a lack of footage, I'll take things that I didn't use in previous meetings and like put it here if it's relevant. So that'll be the case for a couple meetings in the first couple episodes, I think.
Because that's why I was like, man, these guys are like eating a lot in the same place.
Deja vu.
There is so much food in this Survivor. Like there is legit like they are feasting survivors. There is no hunger going on here. Also, that is called, I think that's called Frankenbiting. Frankenbite, when you take 2 clips and kind of put it together for the narrative. And I learned that from, thank you, William Yelton, teaching me some stuff this summer on editing. That's super cool. Awesome. A little shout out to you, my friend. So I think those are all the main bits from the episode. Am I missing anything, Ryan, that you remember?
I don't think so. I think that was everything that happened in the episode. It's hard to remember.
So except for, of course, Tribal Council, which we get to. And I figure you guys are here. I mean, I don't need to rehash Genki asked great questions. I love how it started though. what was the first response? It was like, oh my gosh, who was it? It was a question. It was like, how do you feel after losing? And whoever it was like, it sucks. Or
I think it might have been Aaron.
yes.
That said that. Yeah, I think it was Aaron.
And then it's like awkward silence, like awkward turtle, and it's like, nobody says anything.
There's another scene earlier on in the episode where like we're in the middle of the challenge and she just turns to the camera and she goes, and then it cuts. Which I feel like happened probably more than once.
Yeah.
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 Those are great. I love the deadpans. They're amazing. So yeah, do you guys want to rehash anything from Tribal Council? I mean,
no.
A little bit. I was kind of confused when who was it? Hunter, someone asked me like, do you know who voted for you last week? And I was like, no. And that was like, and
yeah, okay. Yeah.
all of a sudden you go, oh, I know, it was me. And
I think I kind of tried to expose Hunter a little bit. I was like, I know who voted for Peyton, but I don't know if she knows. Like,
yeah, I don't know why I wanted to hide it.
Well, because I always figured if Margaret knew something, then like Ryan at least knew something. I didn't know about Margaret, but Ryan for sure I figured was like, I hear it. And so I figured if Peyton knew and Margaret knew, then Ryan also knew, which meant other people probably knew. I would think. I mean,
everybody knew.
I also figured I was going, so like, might as well do something ballsy.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if you tell one person, everybody knows in Survivor. Like,
yeah,
they know a version of the truth.
And that was something I didn't like that was something that with Kevin. So Kevin said that he was going to use his idol on some people on his tribe. I forget who exactly, but on someone on his tribe. But then he told the cameras he had no intention to do that. Then why even promise that? They didn't ask him to promise anything. Kevin went to them specifically and said, "I promise I'll do this," but he didn't intend to. Then I don't know. Don't take advice from a second boot.
Well, the only thing I'd say in his defense is there might not be a scenario where he can use it to save them. There's always that possibility. So he might be making a promise he can't keep at all. So in that sense, it's not going to hurt his game necessarily. But you're right. I mean, he might also be really just trying to play both sides. Like he has this majority alliance on one side, and then he can make sure the minority stays together by maybe playing them with this idol, thinking he's going to protect them. But you're right, Hunter, that might burn them in the end. So that would mean Kevin would be better off getting rid of those players prior to the jury if he's at the end. Maybe. I have no idea.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I can't wait for tonight in just a little bit. So yeah, it was really interesting. And this is this Tribal Council is a microcosm of truth and lies and misinformation because, Hunter, you knew how you voted. You told specific people. It went around. Ryan is somebody you didn't tell, but then called you out on it and just kind of blew up the whole experience. And like, that's what we live for at Tribal Council. So I'm like, if this stuff is happening in episode 2 and like looking at episode 1, even like how you guys kind of pulled off, it seemed like a blind side to an extent. Like, I'm just like really excited for the level of gameplay that's potentially there for future episodes. I wish I had more questions. I don't know. Like, Hunter, what are some of your takeaways from your experience?
I definitely played too hard, too fast. I really enjoyed. There's I'm still part of the club today. Even I know a lot of the people who go early in their seasons tend to not really stick around, but I've kind of stuck around for better or for worse, whatever that means for the Survivor Club. But I don't know. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Hopefully I might do something again one day.
Hunter, I was just thinking there's a lot of live games that are a lot shorter that take place in like 48 hours or 76 hours. And I'm thinking because you come in swinging, and that might be just you, it might be just your motor runs that way. I think you'd be super successful in a game like that because you kind of need to start, because it's such a short game, you need to play as aggressively as you did. But I think the nature of college Survivor is you kind of have to play that long con. It's very, very important to start slow and kind of like rev your engine with the rest of the cast, like at the same time. And I do think you just were like, you hit the pedal.
You need a couple of those at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's interesting, right?
It starts off with a bang.
Yeah,
We'll go with that. We'll say that. Yeah, that's the upside.
I love it. I love it. So Ryan, it's amazing episode. Peyton, you're so fun to watch. I hope you go deep. I hope you go far. And yeah, if people want to get a hold of you or talk to you or follow you, how would they do that, Ryan?
Well, first I should shout out the Survivor UVA Twitter at Survivor UVA, because we only have 50 something followers, and we could use some more. But if you want to reach me, I guess you can. I think my Instagram is Ryan Anderson14, but it's not that interesting.
Who knows? Somebody might need to get a hold of you because your editing prowess is so great.
Maybe.
Or you never know. Once people watch these, I've had people hit me up on old episodes or old things, and they're like years later, and I'm like, oh, that's so old. So you never know when people will hit you up on this stuff. Hunter, how about you? How can people get a hold of you if you would like them to?
You can hit me up on Instagram at Hunter Dave. That's Hunter DAV. Other than that, I mean, Twitter, Hunter Dave1, but you don't want to follow me on that one. Yeah, and that's it. That's as far as I go with social media.
Yeah, and Hunter, I still think you should keep talking to Genki, because even though you're out, I said the same thing to Quinn, we're always looking to have special guests, and Genki's doing a lot of the work getting the guests for each episode. So if you want to keep analyzing, you should talk to him. And Peyton, our Quidditch queen, how can people get a hold of you if you would like them to?
So my Instagram is Peyton ANNB207. But like I said earlier, I'm not one to really talk a lot, so I haven't checked my Instagram anything for a long time. But it's actually like a characteristic thing. Like, I just don't do social media much, but that's whenever I check it, that would be when.
That would be when. All right. And so, and I'm KIRK. You can find me on Facebook, or you can find me on Instagram, KIRK P. Carlson. And please follow Live Reality Games. We're out here trying to support these different clubs, groups, organizations that put on these amazing events, create lifelong friendships and stories, and roommates, Peyton, like these events can be so cutthroat, but what you go through after you're stripped away from so much is these lasting bonds that can really last a lifetime. And so thanks for being a part of this, you guys. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait to see episode 3, which is dropping in just
3 and 4, double episode tonight.
Oh my gosh. Double episode, double trouble, which means I'm going to have to do double time work to get ready for next week's podcast. Can't wait to see you there. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.